I didn't wake up planning to stand between a billionaire and his kid. I didn't expect a courtyard of polished parents to stare like I'd tripped an alarm. I definitely didn't expect the man whose name sits on the Arts Center to roar, "Get your hands off my son," while I pressed gauze to a small cut above that boy's eye. My name is Elijah Brooks, blue uniform, steel keys singing at my hip. The kind of presence people look through until something goes wrong. And suddenly, the only thing they see is the color of your skin and the color of your shirt. The boy is Ethan, breath, hitching pupils, equal, bleeding slowed. And I'm saying, "You're okay, buddy," slow breath in, slow breath out. When his father, Morgan Kincaid, cuts through the crowd like a verdict, grabs for the kid, and spits the word janitor like it's a diagnosis. I don't square up, I don't perform. I do the thing that used to quiet operating rooms when machines were screaming. I talk steady and low. "You're right to be protective, sir. Your son took a fall and was bleeding. I'm a former pediatric neurosurgeon, and I gave basic first aid." Former neurosurgeon hangs there like a word. This place doesn't know how to pronounce a few parents. Blink the principal fumbles for calm, and Morgan smirks. "Sure, and I'm a former astronaut, save the act, don't touch my kid again." He yanks Ethan hard enough to sting cameras. Tilt people whisper, and I feel the old pressure to fold, to shrink, to apologize for being in the frame at all. But I just step back and say softly, so only the circle can hear, "Right, that I don't belong in this courtyard. But what happens next doesn't end here." If you've never been a black man in a blue uniform in a wealthy zip code, here's the class. Nobody advertises you are a suspicion until proven otherwise, and then a smaller suspicion forever, and that's on a good day. I learned the hard way 23 years ago. When a politician's son didn't wake up from a surgery no one on earth could guarantee. I was the surgeon, the internal review cleared me. The headlines didn't, my license dissolved. My marriage cracked, my home thinned out one chair at a time, and the only things that stayed were my hands and my notes. Steady hands, meticulous notes. By the next morning, I'm a screenshot in the Halcyon Ridge parents' chat by lunch. I'm a liability by evening. My supervisor, Mrs. Morales, is in the storeroom with a clipboard like a shield. "Elijah, we've had calls, people are nervous, maybe stick to the back corridors for a while." I nod because choosing battles is a skill, and preparing for them is a discipline. So I watch the parts of the day nobody watches: the sycamore bench by the car line, where Ethan sits alone 30-40 minutes, while his father finishes deals on speakerphone, the way the kid scans for Morgan's mood, before he speaks, the way he flinches when a door slams. I hear things you can't unhear when you've trained your ear to catch murmurs that save lives. The fake paperwork is ready, the audit won't see it. If anyone talks, you know what to do. 3 days after the courtyard, I'm called to the station. Suspicious behavior, inappropriate contact phrases that land like body blows, even when you've done everything right. And I tell Lieutenant Hargrove, I understand they have to check anything with a child. Then I take out the small notebook I carry, like other men carry, lucky coins, dates, places, symptoms. Anxiety spikes at pickup, social withdrawal, exaggerated startle, probable emotional neglect, probable physical harm. He looks at the notes, looks at me, says quietly, "You don't talk like a custodian," and I say quietly back, "I used to talk like a surgeon every day." Here's the twist people in courtyards never see coming. When the ground opened under me years ago, I learned the last skill they don't teach in med school. People can argue with your character and doubt your memory. A recording doesn't care what color you are. So yes, I've been recording Morgan's parking lot monologues. Public space, no expectation of privacy. Clean audio, neat timestamps. A ledger of arrogance and crimes spoken into a phone at full volume. And I'm building a file the system will have to respect, because I'm using the system's favorite language. The very next day, my past calls me back. Dr. Mia Patel, once my resident, now running a pediatric neurosurgery program on the West Coast. The kind of doctor who doesn't blink at 3 a.m. She says, "I saw your name in a headline and almost broke my phone. Tell me where you are." We meet in a diner that smells like pancakes, even at night. She slides a folder across the table, copies of old evaluations, letters from parents, publications, and a memo from a retired ethics chair who kept what politics tried to bury. She says you were cleared before the pressure campaign, and we can prove it. I don't cry. I just breathe deeper than I have in years. And then comes the soft knock I still hear in quiet rooms, Ethan at my door with a backpack and 2 old eyes. "Mr. Elijah," he whispers. "My dad says you're bad, but you helped me." He rolls up his sleeve like a reflex, and the bruises do their own talking. "I call Mia, bring him now," she says, and we document with care, X-rays, photographs, a child psychologist who knows how to build trust in a single hour. Nothing sensational, just truth gathered the way truth deserves to be gathered. Our circle grows. Mia pulls in a civil rights attorney named Aaron Cho, who files motions like combinations, quick and precise, and a journalist, Carlos Reyes, who turns powerful men into public lessons with a laptop and a calendar full of sources. We meet in a community center room under buzzing lights, whiteboard with 3 columns: child protection, financial crimes, workplace discrimination, Rule 1. If it isn't legal and airtight, it doesn't make the board Rule 2. Nobody flinches when the pressure comes. If we say we're doing this for Ethan, we mean it. Morgan does what men like Morgan do. He doubles down, tells anyone who will listen that I'm dangerous, that the school owes him action, because his last name polishes their endowment, laughs at the idea that anything he says in public could matter, doesn't notice that arrogance builds its own microphones. Then comes the morning bright enough to sting drop-off, looks like a car commercial, until chrome reflects TV vans and windbreakers with 3 letters that make rich men swallow reporters with questions that already have teeth. Morgan steps out mid-sentence and freezes like the air turned to stone. "Mr. Kincaid, can you comment on alleged tax evasion and money laundering?" "Mr. Kincaid, are you aware of an investigation into the abuse of your son?" The courtyard goes still in a new way. Not polite, not fearful. Honest. Inside the admin office, I stand with Mia, calm in my spine like I'm scrubbing in. Ms. Langley hovers and finally understands that neutrality is just a slower way to pick a side outside. Carlos raises a flash drive, like a courtroom exhibit. 47 recordings captured in public spaces, Mr. Kincaid discussing offshore accounts, bragging about bribing an auditor, threatening a whistleblower. An IRS agent unfolds a warrant like a clean white sheet and says, "We'll be visiting your offices and residence today." Mia steps forward for the record. "This is Dr. Elijah Brooks, former chief of pediatric neurosurgery, author on traumatic brain injury in children pushed out under political pressure after a tragic loss no surgeon could have prevented. Our team has provided evidence regarding the child's safety to the proper authorities. And in that instant, the story flips like a coin, finally showing its other side." Morgan tries the old magic. "You're taking the word of a janitor over mine." "I built half this town," and then his phone rings with the sound of real consequences, his partner shouting that clients are walking the board, wants his resignation, now the stock is in freefall, and Morgan sits down hard on the steps like gravity remembered him. I walk outside without gloating, crouch so only he can hear. Next time you decide who is safe to touch your child, look past the uniform. Sometimes the janitor is the only adult in the room. Yeah, that happened. 6 months later. Halcyon Ridge looks different. The plaques didn't change. The culture. Did Ms. Langley is gone because leadership without a spine is decoration. The board built a new role, Director of Student Safety and Development, and they put my name on the door. We trained staff to see patterns, built anonymous. Reporting that actually moves, brought in counselors who listen. Before they prescribe, taught kids that strong doesn't mean silent. As for Morgan, money can buy a lot, but it can't buy yesterday. Accounts frozen company, dismantled by lawyers who can smell blood in a spreadsheet. A plea on the financial charges, separate proceedings for what happened to Ethan. I don't wish cages on anyone, but I do wish accountability on everyone. Victoria moves to a quieter street where the loudest thing is the blender in the morning. Ethan does homework in my office, sometimes feet swinging, telling me about science like it's a door he just found the key for. And some afternoons, a letter arrives folded from paper, thin enough to leave dust on your fingers. Dear Brooks, it starts. I don't deserve forgiveness. I'm glad my son is safe, I'm learning. I keep those letters in a drawer I rarely open, not because I'm cruel, but because growth is his job now. My job is the living. The medical board reviews what politics distorted, reinstates the license. A word can come back to you in one piece even when time doesn't. Hospitals ask me to talk to residents about what to do when truth and power go to war. I tell them the same thing I tell Ethan. Keep your notes, keep your nerve, keep your humanity. When you're right, sit patient enough to let time catch up. When you're wrong, fix it fast. Both will save lives. Do I regret anything I said in that courtyard? I regret the years I said nothing. The rooms where a child's shaking hands were blamed on attitude, and I kept pushing a mop because pushing back felt too expensive. The day Morgan shouted, I saw the version of me from 23 years earlier. A man who knew how to be calm and finally remembered how to be brave. Calm is a tool. Courage is a choice. Use both. You know what I mean? Now tell me what you think. Was I right to record conversations in a public parking lot if it protected a child, or does that cross a line for you? When a parent crosses from tough to cruel, where should accountability land? Have you seen a school look the other way because a last name came with a check? Or have you seen a community get it right? Drop your story in the comments. Push back if you need to. And if this hit something true for you, tap subscribe so more people hear it. And maybe, just maybe, think twice the next time they decide who gets to be the adult in the room.